Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be time, space, and love. I've actually got 4 different emails from 4 different viewers. One of them is a woman that I'm going to go through today. But before we get into it, I've got a quote that I wrote that I'd like to share with you. And it says, "In music, it is the spaces in between the notes that creates the sounds of music. Otherwise, music would just be constant noise. In friendship, love, and relationships, you must give others the time and space to miss you and realize what you mean to them. This gives them the space to be themselves and enjoy their freedom to be and express who they are, but also appreciate the gift and blessing you are to them in their lives. If you act neurotic and come unglued when you are away from them or don't hear from them in the time you expect, you will create noise in the music of your relationship, and they will simply change the channel on you and find someone else who they make better music with." That's something to think about. So let's get into the first email. This guy says, "Hey Corey, I love your stuff. I've been watching your YouTube clips for a long time, and I've purchased your book, and I've also read Doc Love's The System." Definitely a good book for those of you who haven't read Doc Love's book. I think his website is doclove.com, doclove.com. I think it's like $100 for his dating dictionary. It's pretty hilarious. He's got a great sense of humor, and like me, he's also got a sales background, and I highly recommend his book, although I don't agree with everything that he teaches, but he's pretty cut and dry, black and white in the way he believes things. He says, "I've been dating a girl who is pretty awesome, but I played it right, letting her do 70 to 80% of the contact and trying to joke about the future." And he puts in parentheses, "The more you talk about the future, the less likely you'll be in it. My issue is that everything was great and she went away for work for 3 weeks. Before she left, we spent a couple of days together, and I've been dating her for about 4 months. In the past 5 to 6 days, she has become distant." Well, maybe she's just busy on vacation. If she's on vacation, she's enjoying herself, she's traveling, she's driving around, she's with friends or family or whatever, she's not going to have the time to constantly blow up your phone and talk to you all the time like she is, because she's probably on total sensory overload, especially like if she's in a different country or a different part of the country that you live in that she hasn't been in before. You have to be okay with that. You can't act neurotic and go, "Oh my God, I haven't heard from her. Something's wrong. And then you start calling her and you start acting like something's wrong. And then what happens is you, in essence, start acting unnatural, and that's going to push her away. Worst thing you can do is start to act needy. He says she used to text all the time, call at night, and now she stopped or is limited. Dude, it's only for 5 to 6 days. I mean, come on, man. You've been together for 4 months, and then all of a sudden she goes away on a trip, and for 5 to 6 days her texting and calling is limited. I mean, that's obvious. You shouldn't be coming unglued about this. I mean, at the end of the day, she's going to be gone for 3 weeks. This is why you've got to let her come to you at her own pace. Maybe at night when she gets back to the hotel or whatever, she'll get on the phone and call you. But you can't expect her to be exactly like she was when she was in town. Let her have that space. Let her wonder about you. Don't be chasing after her wondering, "Hey, is there something wrong? Are you okay? Why haven't you called me?" You start doing that, it's the absolute worst thing you can do. Women are like cats, and they come and go as they please. And this is how, I mean, think about it. When you're around somebody 24/7, you get used to them. You know what they're like. Sometimes you get a little bit bored. And that's why it's important that when you're in a relationship, that you should have your own interests, your own friends, your own goals, things that you do outside of your wife, so you can have some time, even if you're just going to lunch with or going out for a few beers one night with the guys to catch up and talk. Just that few hours away, it makes you appreciate what it's like to not have your girl around. So when you see her later that night, you can enjoy reconnecting and having missed one another. Plus, you'll have new stories and new input for your relationship, because obviously she's going to want to know what happened, what you were talking about, what's going on with everybody. He says, "I haven't chased, and I will wait for her to contact me, but my question is that her interest level has decreased since she has left. It's still above 50 because she still contacts me every once in a while, but my question is is it normal for most girls to have their interest decreases significantly?" Well, like I said, I think you're overreacting a little bit. But again, she's on vacation. She's probably enjoying herself. Let her have some fun. When she's out roaming around, she'll probably be thinking to herself, I wish he was here. But if you're blowing up her phone going, hey, where are you? Why haven't you called me? What's up? What's going on? Is there a problem? She ain't going to miss you then. She's going to be like, well, who is this fucking guy? He says, I know it doesn't drop overnight, but you almost need contact to keep the intimacy. That's what you think. You think that you've got to be in constant contact with her 24/7 in order to feel good about yourself. It's nonsense. This line of thinking is a limiting belief that you have about yourself, because deep down, you fear that you're not good enough for her. You fear that you don't deserve her. You fear that when she's away from you for 3 weeks, that she's going to meet somebody else and fall in love and you'll never hear from her again. It may happen. I mean, at the end of the day, by having space away from one another, this gives her the chance to choose you mutually. That's what you want. You want somebody that when they're away from you, they're thinking about you, and then when they come back in town, they're happy to see you. Obviously, if she goes away and she finds somebody else, then obviously your relationship really wasn't that strong. He says, last question, she brought up exclusiveness, but she's all over the place about a long-term relationship. Well, if she brought it up, it means she wants to be exclusive. You should say, what do you mean? Are you saying you want to be boyfriend, girlfriend? You want to, I mean, what are you looking? What are your thoughts? What are you thinking? Don't ever presuppose or assume that you know what she's thinking. Let her tell you explicitly by asking good quality questions. He says again, I tell her, let's just have fun and see how it goes in the future. Well, she wants to be exclusive, and after 4 months, you're telling her no, basically. I don't know why you're doing that if that's what you want as a relationship. But she brings it up every 2 weeks, and sometimes I wonder if it's her showing me slowly her interest is down and that she's looking to give me a reason to drop it. Have you ever experienced this? Well, when a woman brings up being exclusive, it's because she wants to be exclusive. And you're just saying, no, I'm not interested in that, or hey, let's talk about it in the future. I don't know why you're doing that. It's been 4 months. If she wants to be exclusive and she's bringing it up and you ask her, are you saying you want to be exclusive? You want to be boyfriend, girlfriend? Great, because if you just keep telling her, let's talk about in the future, let's talk about in the future, she's going to think that you don't want to be her boyfriend. This doesn't mean you start chasing her, but if that's what you want, then say, and after she tells you, yeah, I'd like to be exclusive, and then when she says, what do you think about it? It's like, I think it's a great idea. I think you're an awesome girlfriend. I love you. I adore you. It's like, absolutely. I'm not interested in dating anybody else. I'm really happy with you, and I'm happy to be exclusive. Let's explore it and see where it goes from there. And then eventually down the road, she starts saying, well, where's this going? You go, well, what do you mean? Well, I was hoping we'd get engaged soon. That means she wants to get married. And if you're ready to get married, then you surprise her with a proposal at a time and a place of your choosing. So let's get into the second guy's email. He says, hey, Coach, I've dated this girl for 10 months, and we lived together for 9 months. 8 at her apartment and 1 at my house. My parents are super religious, and they asked her to move out, and she got mad and did. Dude, you should have said, Mom and Dad, I love you, but you need to bud the fuck out of my relationship with my girlfriend. It's none of your business, and you have no right and no place. Your beliefs are your own beliefs, and don't be trying to impose that stuff on me. You need to respect my life. I'm an adult. I got my big boy pants on. I love you, but I can make my own decisions now. Thank you very much. And I would appreciate it if you call my girlfriend and apologize to her for butting into our business and making her feel uncomfortable. Because as a man, you need to stand up for your girl, especially to your family, because this is going to cause her to not feel safe and comfortable. It sounds like you're letting your parents run your life. It's like, dude, you need to fucking grow up. She was upset but wanted us to stay together, but she would have to move out of state for the summer to live with her parents until college started back. Oh, so I guess you live at home then, and that must be what it means. So he says, I went ahead and broke up with her, and I thought she'd already been cheating on me. I never told her that, though. I broke her heart, and she was very upset and wanted to get back together for a few weeks before she left in May. And I told her I wanted her back, and she says that she was not going to be in a long-distance relationship and not going to work on rebuilding us at her parents' place. Yeah, because, I mean, at the end of the day, you didn't stand up for her. And you should have said, Mom and Dad, if you don't want her here, then that tells me you don't want me here. She's my girlfriend. I love her, and I want to be with her. If you don't support me being in this relationship with her, then I'm happy to move out and move into her place and stay there. And you said she had her own apartment. I don't know why you would live at her apartment and then move in with your parents. It's like, dude, you have to stand up to your parents and not let your parents walk all over women you're dating, because they're not going to want anything to do with you or your family at that point. She's not going to trust your masculine core when you allow relatives to interfere in your relationship. It's none of their fucking business. You know, at the end of the day, you're living under your parents' roof, and if they're not going to support you in your relationship, then you need a good job and support yourself so you can get an apartment and move on out. He says, she said we could get back together at the end of the summer when she moves back to town. So I basically did the wussy thing and waited around for her to get back, and now she says she doesn't want to be in a relationship and just wants to heal and live and make more mistakes, and she doesn't want to be intimate or come to my house. Well, obviously, your parents made her feel pretty fucking uncomfortable, and you didn't stand up for her. She's not going to trust your masculine core when you act like that. You're acting like a boy child. You're not acting like a man. She says we can have dinner once in a while to keep in touch, and she says that she still loves me and misses me and us, but just needs time to heal. She says that if I wait around for her, there's a good chance she won't come back, but there is a fairly equal good chance that we could get back together because she was so happy when we were together, and she doesn't want to completely shut any doors with me. That's why you say, baby, I love you, but I'm not interested in being your friend only. Doesn't mean we have to be in an exclusive relationship, but you're my girl, you're my lover, and I want you. And if you don't want those things anymore, then it's been nice knowing you. I wish you all the best in the future. If you change your mind, please give me a call, because I would absolutely love to see you. I adore you. You know how I feel about you. But I can't do the friendship thing. It doesn't work for me. And then you're going to walk and never look back. One of two things will happen. She'll get in touch with you, and if she does, just like I say in my book, you should assume that she wants to see you. Hey, babe, it's great to hear from you. I'd love to see you when you're free to get together. Make a date, hang out, have fun, and hook up. It's really simple. He says she wanted to talk a couple of weeks ago, and I think I pushed her away because it was the second time since May that we had seen each other, and I told her that I loved her and wanted to get back together, and I think I made her say that she didn't want it because it was too pressuring. Yeah, you're still in the mindset of like you have a relationship and you just flip a light switch on and now she's ready to be exclusive with you again. You have to look at it as if you're broken up and you are the one that dumped her, and that's, at least from that's what it sounds like you said here in your email. So you have to rebuild the relationship by courting her, hanging out, having fun, and hooking up. And when she wants to be exclusive and she's ready for that again, she will bring it up. But you haven't even gone on one single date and you're already asking her to jump right back into where things were. And it's totally out of sequence. It's putting the cart before the horse. That's why you need to read my book and actually apply it. He says, oh, and when she moved at the start of the summer, she said she wanted her space and that it would be easier when she moved back. We talked 2 weeks ago, and she said she would text me that next week to when we could go to dinner because it was her birthday the next Sunday, but she never texted yet except saying thanks to a happy birthday text I sent her. So this tells me that you're pursuing her. You want to get back together and you want to see her, and she's saying, no, I just want to be friends. And you continue to pursue her. All that does is reconfirm to her that you're okay with just being friends. And that's not what you want. You need to be congruent with your words and your actions. He says, so now I don't know what to do. I feel like I've blown it by laying all my cards on the table. You're focused on a relationship instead of just hanging out, having fun, and hooking up. The relationship comes after a couple of months of successfully hanging out, having fun, and hooking up all the time. And if she actually comes back for the summer and you start hanging out, having fun, and hooking up, obviously by the end of the summer, she's going to want to be exclusive again. And she won't care about the distance because she'll be in love with you. But you have to court her properly. If you violate those principles, you're going to get rejected every single time. He says, I don't know whether to call or text her to see where we could go to dinner or just to try and talk to her some more and say that I shouldn't have told her my feelings. You don't have anything to prove to her, dude. You've already said what you wanted. Let it go. Stop trying to come up with reasons to be neurotic and chase after her. It's not going to work. I mean, you've already been trying this for months. It's gotten you nowhere. He says, but because it was too much of her and we should just hang out and have fun and not worry about labels. You don't need to run after her and tell her that. Let her come to you. Because if she calls you, it's her idea. The reason she didn't call you the next week when she told you she was going to is because she didn't want to talk to you. And that's why you got to give her the space to miss you, but you don't give her the space. You know, it's like sexual attraction is kind of like putting a cake in the oven. It's like it's got to take the amount of time it's got to bake for the dough to rise, for the yeast to have the effect on the dough. But if you keep opening the door every 5 seconds to go, is it done yet? Is it done yet? You're going to let all the heat out, and you're going to ruin the cake. You're going to release all this sexual tension. It's never going to build up to the point where she actually wants to release it physically with you in person. He says, do I tell her that I thought she was cheating? Come on, man. It's like, how is that going to help? Think about it. What do you think that's going to make her feel internally if you accuse her of cheating on you when you're not even together? All you're going to do is make yourself look like a needy, insecure jackass. He says, I think she thinks that she didn't make me happy because she asked me that she probably thinks it was because of her condition, that she's bipolar, and it didn't bother me at all. I hope you can make a little sense of this. I know I was rambling. Yeah, a little bit. He didn't tell me about the bipolar thing until the end here. It doesn't really matter. The real reason is that you over-pursued her instead of just hanging out, having fun, and hooking up. I don't know why you broke up with her in the first place. Probably because your mommy and your daddy told you what to do, and you haven't grown up to the point where you actually just stand up to your parents. So in essence, you didn't act like a man, and that's why you got rejected. So at the end of the day, wait for her to get in touch with you. That's all you can really do at this point. And when she does, assume she wants to see you, make a date, and then get off the phone. So let's get into the third email. This guy says, hey Corey, I need advice on a girl that I recently met and I was hoping you may be able to help guide me. I met her through a dating site here in the UK, and she's 25 years old and I'm 32. After buying and reading your book, I understand I probably did a few things wrong. I know this might be a little longer. He says, we hit it off almost right away. We exchanged numbers, and within a few days, we were talking on the phone. The first time we spoke on the phone was almost for 4 hours. Dude, that's way too fucking much. 10 minutes is all you need. You just say, hey, you sound really awesome. We need to get together in person. Have a drink. When are you free to meet up? As simple as that. Because if she ain't interested in meeting up after 10 minutes, talking to her for 4 hours, it's not going to matter. You want women who are open to meeting somebody, open to hanging out and having fun and seeing where things lead. Because you do this and all you end up being is like her phone therapist. She texted me after saying we had so much fun after our 4-hour phone call that we had so much in common. This is where she was looking for. Somebody that she could talk to for hours and they would listen to her. Yeah, I'm looking for a guy to be my therapist. And I'm also looking for a guy that knows how to fuck me. Over the next week, we exchanged texts back and forth, and she would text me in the morning to say hi, and I would do the same, and she would constantly see what I was up to and if I was okay, etc. We seemed to get along really well, and things were great. You haven't met her in person yet, dude. You don't even know if she looks like her pictures. Like, come on, man. Think about it. I mean, that's what happens with online dating, whether you're doing Match.com or the Tinder app or any other kind of dating app. Sometimes girls aren't going to look as good in person as they do in their pictures. That's why it's always best to meet and have just a place where you can have a drink, a glass of wine or two, and that's it. That way you can say, hey, it was nice meeting you, but I got to run. Give her a hug and you're out of there. He says, we then decided to meet up one day, and she met me at a train station in her town, and we went for some drinks. Well, that's good, finally. After that, we went for a walk in the park, sat down, we got all feely-touchy and started kissing, hugging, etc. Things were going very well. Afterwards, we went for some food and then went to the store to buy a couple of DVDs and a bottle of wine as she got in the evening off from work, and we went back to her place. Well, that's good. It took you a while to get there, but you got there. You could have gotten there a lot quicker, but I understand you're learning, so it's good. So far, so good. We watched a couple of movies after we made love. Nice. Hang out, have fun, hook up. And had a great time together. The day after I left her house, things continued to do great the following week, and we continued to text each other and talked a few times on the phone. I started to be a little too nice from what I can see looking back, telling her I missed her and I was thinking about her. You know, you're getting like, come on, dude. It's like, this is what happens. You get a little punani and you're just, and it's like you just can't handle it. It's like you got to maintain control, man. It's like, this is the kind of thing that happens. You see James Bond flipping out when he gets laid. He's just got a smirk on his face. He's like, of course we had sex, and of course it was awesome because I'm James Bond. Fucking A, I'm a catch. It's the way you need to look at yourself. Because before anybody else will believe it, you have to believe it yourself. So he says, I told her I missed her and I was thinking about her, but she would say the same back. She was working a lot as a waitress, and I really wanted to see her again, and I asked her when she would be free, but she said she only had one day off that week and was going to a birthday party. He says, anyhow, one night after work, she texted me saying how my day was and that she just had finished work, and earlier that day she said she would call me that night. I replied I was okay and if she was going home. She then replied that she was not going home and was going out with some friends, and that really kind of annoyed me because she said she would call that night and also said we could meet sometime after work, but instead she decided to go out with her friends. Yeah, because you're being Mr. Nice Guy, being her phone therapist instead of making dates. And so she knows that if she really wants to see you and fuck you again, all she has to do is call you and invite you over. But now what's happening is you're starting to act neurotic. Why? Because she's not doing what you expect her to do. But you've done this to yourself by acting like her therapist instead of the guy that she's having great sex with and having fun with. He says, so I never replied back. I should have kept it cool and responded with something else maybe. I would have just said, have a good night. Let me know when your schedule's free so we can meet up and have some fun again. I'd love to see you. That's it. And then you wait for her to get back to you. And then if she gets back to you a couple days later, assume it's because she wants to see you. Even women aren't going to ask you out now. You have to be the man. You have to be the leader. And then make plans and then get off the phone. This tells me what happened is you started pursuing her and calling her and texting her. And you would talk for hours but never make a date. It's the worst thing you can do. It's like you're literally talking her out of liking you. You talked her out of sleeping with you. Because you're like Mr. Nice Guy, I want to be respectful, and you're friend zoning yourself. She then texted me early in the morning, you see, I think you realize I'm not for you because I am partying. I just responded with a text saying, I do not mind if she went out, just that she said she would call me and never did, and would be nice to see her again. To keep this short, it ended that day with her texting me saying she was bad for me, etc. I would say, yeah, but I like bad girls. So when are you free to get together, bad girl? I want to see you and be naughty. Be playful. But instead, you're letting this totally cause you to come unglued. And that's why she's throwing these things at you, because she can tell you're getting upset and you're getting butthurt that she's not doing what it is that you want. And this is how most guys typically react. And you're trying to control the situation. Now she feels like she's going to lose her freedom. And what happens? She's going to bounce on your ass. I replied and said, no, she's not bad. Everybody likes to go out every now and again. And then she said, thank you. You're very nice, babe. I then should have left it, but I had a drink and I got a bit emotional and said how much I really liked her. I like you. Let me talk about my feelings. And then I had been with a lot of other girls but never clicked with anyone like I did with her. And he says, dumb, I know. I was like, you think? Like, does James Bond do that? No, it's because he's been with lots of hot girls. He doesn't talk about that. Gentlemen don't talk about the other women that they're with. But now you just basically communicated she's like the only thing you've ever had going on. And she's probably had lots of experiences with lots of other guys like this. And to her, it's not a big deal. And she can tell, because remember, women are in the mindset of, is this guy a good guy for me? But you're going to probably become Mr. Sappy, Dopey boyfriend, wannabe, after one date. And she knows how that dance ends, because this is pretty much how most guys act. Remember what I said about the quote? She's got to have the space and time away from you to miss you. But instead, you're acting like a woman, and you just won't leave her alone. He says, I left it that day and never heard anything back, so I texted her just yesterday and asked her how she was, but no reply. Over pursuing, dude. I have her on Facebook and noticed she has recently added a new friend, which is a guy. So she probably is chasing somebody else, but I am not entirely sure. Kind of annoyed, as I really like this girl and I think I may have blown my chances. He says, quick follow-up. After I had sent you the first email, she sent me a text. Hello, I'm okay. Are you? And he says, I haven't responded yet. See, it's like women are like cats. See, she was too sure of herself, and all of a sudden, you just stopped moving forward. And now she reaches out to you. I'm doing great. It's wonderful to hear from you. I'd love to see you. When are you free to get together next? That should be your response. And if she says, well, I don't know, I'm not sure, I gotta check my schedule, then that sounds awesome. Check your schedule and get back to me, because I would love to see you. And that's it. And you let it go. Hang out, have fun, and hook up. That's the simple answer of what you need to do, and don't overcomplicate things. So let's get on the fourth and final email, and this one is from a woman. She says, "Hi Corey, I'm a female fan of yours and having recently come across your site and found some great ideas about dating and relationships. I need some advice about my long distance relationship, but I am also hoping you can clarify a couple of your dating tenets regarding how to respond to tepid interest. In a nutshell, we lived together 24/7 for about 7 months out of the past 12 and have now been back in our respective homes for about a month and a half. We had our ups and downs, but overall we got along pretty well, and we left it that we would get together in a few months. The problem is, since I've returned home, he has downgraded communications to only weekly emails via Facebook. My phone has sat silent. I disagree that women should do most of the pursuing. How can you judge a guy's interest level if you beat him to it?" Well, here's the deal. This is all the women I've dated, all my girlfriends, even my ex-wife. That's just the way women are. Because when you understand feminine energy is about opening up to receive love. When a woman feels safe and comfortable with a guy, when she's happy, he's courting her properly, she wants to talk to him all the time. She wants his presence. She's the one that usually sends the little text like, "Hey, I miss you. Hey, I was thinking about you. Hey, how's your day going?" That's part of feminine energy. It's all about bonding and love and connection. Masculine energy is about purpose, drive, mission, succeeding, accomplishing, breaking through barriers. And it doesn't mean that a woman should keep over pursuing a guy if he's not making any kind of effort, which it's obvious in this case. You guys were living together. It was great for a while, and then it kind of ran its course. But at the end of the day, look at his actions. What are his actions? If he really cared about you, he wouldn't be... It's almost like he's kind of crawling away like a cockroach in the middle of the night. It went from phone calls to texting, and now it's just email messages every once in a while. And so he's kind of letting you go. So he's not really investing much time in seeing you, and obviously he's not bringing it up, and you just like you said, your phone is sitting silent. So in that particular case, you shouldn't be doing really hardly anything. If he sends you an email, you can say, "Hey, it's great to hear from you. I'd love to see you sometime," and just leave it at that. You let him know that you're open to seeing him, and he's obviously done this in the past where he makes dates with you, so you got to give him the space and the time to actually go ahead and do that. And if he doesn't, if he just says, "Yeah, we should do that," and then he never brings it up, what does that tell you? It means he's just not that into you, just like the movie. So she says, "Previously, we'd keep close with daily Skype sessions that lasted for hours. He now seems to only respond to messages that I send first, and seems that he lets my messages sit unopened in his inbox for several days." Well, at the end of the day, it still sounds like you're doing most of the calling, texting, and pursuing, and he's not really responding. See, a guy who really cared about you and liked you, he'd be like, "Oh, babe, it's so great to hear from you. I love getting those little sweet texts that say, 'You miss me, you can't wait to see me.'" But in this particular case, he lets it sit there for several days. His actions tell you everything, and that means he's just not that into you. I feel like I'm being friend-zoned because a man in love would want to hear your voice and have interactive, ongoing relating, and I resent this feeling of a bait and switch and how he's trying to manage down my expectations. That's why you stop calling him, stop texting him, stop pursuing him. He's not making any effort at all. And if you love yourself and you think you're a woman who is a catch to any guy, you're going to keep your possibilities open. It takes two to make a relationship work, and he's not making any effort. She says, "I've tried at least 3 times to have him tell me when are you free to catch up, but he doesn't touch the invite. It's like the old expression of leading the horse to water. That's why don't bring it up. If he reaches out to you, just be like, 'Hey, it's great to hear from you. I'd love to see you.' And then see what he does with that. If he doesn't invite you, then just say, 'Well, it was nice chatting with you,' and then leave the conversation. Talk to him if he calls you. I mean, obviously he's not calling you, but at the end of the day, throw it out there that you're open to meeting up with him. But if he doesn't make plans, then let it go. That's what I would do if I were you." Most recently, however, he wrote that he'd be in touch, but that the longer it takes, the harder it is. I guess this means that since he left, this long catching up properly would feel stilted and awkward, which is his own doing or not doing. The main thing I need clarity on is whether to respond, "Great to hear from you. I'd love to chat with you. When are you free to Skype?" Since previous invitations stay untouched. Doesn't employing this attitude imply that no matter what he does or doesn't do, whether attentive or negligent, whether being present or acting like it's okay to come and go like a cat door, that's all fine with me. I'll be glad to hear from him. I feel like feigning enthusiasm over crumbs is encouraging bad behavior. All you can do is let him, if he reaches out, hey, it's great to hear from you, I'd love to see you. And that's it. Send that to him. And if he doesn't do anything with that, then next time he reaches out to you, ignore his ass. Don't do anything. Go date other guys. Move on with your life, because at the end of the day, you were hot and heavy for several months, 7 months. You were living together 24/7. It's like, it sounds like it just ran its course and you got bored of each other. I mean, that happens sometimes. It's like in this case, it sounds like you're kind of holding on to something that's already kind of died out. So I just let it go and move on and respond to him in the ways that I talked about. And if he doesn't make any more of an effort after that, then I would just start ignoring him and go on with your life. So if you'd like to get my help personally, the quickest way is to book a paid phone coaching session. You can do that by going to my website, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and follow the instructions for booking a phone session with yours truly. And I will talk to you soon.